Much love and peace to all watching and or listening to the candid stories of my soul with myself as the host, Racquel Shelby. From the moment we take our first breath and every experience that follows builds us up and creates the individuals we are today. In life, we will experience both the good and the bad because in order for balance to exist, they both must exist. There cannot be good without bad, nor can there be chaos without peace. The Creator is the author of it all. Whether we believe in a God source or not, He is within us all. Source is with us and present as all times, just as much as our DNA. You will get to audibly witness many journeys of individuals as they are living, breathing, and ever growing documentaries in the flesh. Many will attest to how the Creator was there, and many of these accounts will be mind blowing. Today, I have the director of Black Business LA, Melvin Graham, and owner of Render Squad Industries, and we're going to get into this interview. We're going to have some good questions and a lot of good content for you. So please stay with us for a moment and we'll be right back. Well, how are you doing today, Melvin?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on your platform on your show. Very excited.
I am so happy to have you here today. Tell us, what is it that you do? Like, what you've got this big project going that's going to be amazing, a documentary actually called Black Business LA. Can you tell us all about that and everything else that you do?
Wow. Well, as far as Black Business LA, it's really a snapshot of Black business success, along with the stories that goes along with every obstacle, right? That Black businesses go through in LA. I mean, I know this is applicable to, should I say, Black society in general around America, but we're talking about Los Angeles and how, should I say, the economic landscape is there. And as far as me, yeah, yes, I'm a film director and a journalist as well. I have my own company, Renter Squad Industries LLC, in which we produce multimedia and one of our specialties, of course, is documentary films, actually. So that's
Okay.
from the things we do and what I do and what the documentary series is about.
Okay. So, what really made you want to do this? Like, what put this on your heart for you to do?
Well, all my life, growing up, being a black man, growing up, should I say, on the East Coast in Washington D.C., you know, I've seen the economics work against black people all my life. I
Mhm.
didn't have the words, or should I say, I had the visual representation because I saw it every day, but I didn't have the words to sort of put this together in a way. So, going through broadcasting school, getting my degree in media arts, one of the things I wanted to take on was to be able to, should I say, accurately in a visual way depict what's going on with the economics in Black society. So that type of shall I say background or experience led to Black Business LA.
I think that's a great motivation and to take on what you're doing in sense is a responsibility. It's always a good thing to show our people in a positive light and give them their flowers and recognition as much as we can because we don't necessarily get that like we should when it comes to the more positive things in life. I mean, we get all the accolades for all the buffoonery and foolery. If it's
Facts.
foolery, if it's buffoonery, if it's ignorant and probably disrespectful, we gonna get credit for it. But how often do are we seen in a light that is positive? I mean, because there are people that act crazy or not even crazy, but they're irresponsible or whatever way you shun them, they have those same people in every community. But we have a lot of positive things to show. So I'm just grateful that you are taking the time to highlight that. I think that's great.
Thank you very much. And it's definitely not easy because, you know, to make, for one, it's a challenge to make Black empowerment palatable in a way in which people can digest the information that's given. That's one challenge. And then the other challenge is making it entertaining enough so, from an attention standpoint, people are engaged, actively engaged in terms of the information that's being given and the visuals that they're seeing. So it's a lot of obstacles and that alone, and trying to tell the stories of these great Black men and women out here.
Right.
Despite the economic challenges, they're looking at generational wealth. They're looking at business ownership. They're looking at how can we make gradual change in which every one of us can benefit.
Right.
Indeed.
All right. That's awesome. I mean, you hit something on the nail here. The nail on the head rather. Um when it comes to reality TV, I mean, or a depiction of reality, film,
Right.
documentary, you know, reality show, whatever. Um, in as much as you want to keep it, I mean, you're telling a story, you're telling good information, entertaining, but so many people need a sense of drama.
Mm.
So not to suggest that the way you would have to do it would have to be ratchet drama. I'm not suggesting that in no way, but it has, we don't need, but I am suggesting that you do acknowledge and realize that there is a form of entertainment that would be desired to get the overall picture and message across.
Agree. And
Okay.
and like I said, once again, and that touches back to what I was saying before about making Black empowerment palatable, so it can be good for everyone in Black society, because we have a lot of variations of what people would consider entertaining or what they would even consider drama. And you mentioned drama, which is true, because I mean, drama is one of those things that we see play out all over Black society in many forms. You know what I mean? For instance,
Hmm.
there's drama in uh, just trying to get, just for Black people to get reparations in America. There's
Hmm.
drama in, for instance, in the should I say, the income gap in terms of Black people being behind in every single economic category in America. So there's drama everywhere in terms of our story and how we move in this country, how we navigate in this country.
Exactly. One of the things that popped in my head as you were talking, life, and you might not agree. You don't have to. Anything I say, you don't have to agree with. But
It's
these
all
are
good.
just how I see it.
Right.
Life is theater, and the earth is
True.
our stage. So, to some degree, you're gonna have drama in life. I mean, you're now depending on the type of tip you be on depends on how much and what type of drama
True.
you're gonna be dealing with. And some people got a whole lot of drama, and it's crazy because they don't understand why their lives are so chaotic. But when you just take one piece of the show, one player out of the show, the whole play changes, and people don't understand it. It be just the little changes you can make, and that's what I mean by taking the player out the game. Just
Facts.
make one change, and your life can change. They don't understand how much control they have, and they don't understand that to a degree they desire this type of drama because they're
That's true.
attracting it. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Oh,
sorry, I don't mean
100%.
to get all extra on you.
No, that's not extra at all. That is a valid point, because our own drama has become my entertainment. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
and I mean, if it's not the reality shows, which gives you that that soap opera feel that a lot of us like to indulge in. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm exempt from any of this because there's shows that I like. You know what I mean? That a lot of people probably don't like or do like. Well, I guess a lot of people do like it because they're still on air. So clearly, there's an audience for it. But yeah, our drama plays out into entertainment all the time. I mean, we see this happen on live streams all across social media, don't
So true. Oh my goodness, isn't that crazy? I do
we?
want to touch on that since you brought that up. And it could be my age gap. And then I want to ask you if one of these reality series do you like? and you,
Okay,
and if you don't, then it's cool. Then we'll just laugh and keep going. No harm, no fault.
for sure.
Um, I want to ask. I guess I'll ask that first because I got to remember what I was about to say. Um,
Okay.
is any of those reality shows Fear Factor?
I used to watch Fear Factor back when Joe Rogan was the host. I think back then. I don't
Okay,
know if he
okay.
still is today, but I used to watch it. Yeah, that's a good show.
Yeah, yeah. Man, so many shows. That one thing about reality TV, and I think people
Mhm.
discount of how we got into it. I don't watch it as much anymore because at this point it's just like, oh, you know. Now I'm saying that I remember what I was about to say, so I'll get to that too. But
No worries.
it started off like just a little. It started off with okay, and it had a little bit of just maybe a pinch of ratchet activity in there. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't too much to where you would protest it. Right? That's
No,
how that's how
no.
reality TV started off. You know, like I never really watched the real world. But you had that and you had I remember stuff like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, that stuff still's
Hmm.
going on.
Still going.
Um Top Model, and then you would get into your house. No, no, even before the Housewives, Ray J, Flavor Flav,
Hmm.
all of that was going on, and then
Hmm.
actually my husband and I were watching those things. Now, see, he won't watch reality TV now, but we was watching For the Love of Ray J together. Now, I don't know about the man with the clock. I can't think Flavor Flav.
Flavor
I don't
Flav.
know about who I was watching that ridiculous mess with, but I do remember watching For the Love of Ray J. And so with my husband. And so after that, then you get into your housewives and then it's amping up basketball wives. Okay,
Of
it's
course.
amping up Atlanta housewife, so it was a process and people kind of strung along that process. And before you know it was like, what the hell? What am I? This is crazy. Like
Right.
who wants all of this drama in their lives, for a paycheck and people getting on live, like you say, getting on live, and then we know all the ignorant ass drama. It's like
That's true.
why y'all turn the camera on? It's almost as if they be like lights, camera, action. You ready to act a fool? I'm ready. I'm hyped up. I prepared
Of
for this all
course.
day in the
Right.
mirror, and it's like. But anyway, back to you. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
This is an interview, but I try to keep dialogue as well, not just be a robot. Like
Understood.
so. Next question. Um. But yeah, back to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
It's all right. This is good.
I try.
But oh yeah. But in terms of the reality shows, some of them are useful. Some of them are entertaining. Like you mentioned, Fear Factor. Um, I don't know about The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. I don't know what good could come out of that per se. But like my wife and I, one of our favorite shows is Married at First Sight, and I like that show a lot because there's a lot of gems there. You get to see, uh, certain dynamics and relationships play out. Be it communication, be it conflict resolution, things like that.
Mm.
These are a lot of high end concepts that they uh, have take place on the show. So some of these reality shows aren't necessarily bad per se, in terms of the messaging at least, and then some of them are just outright crazy, as you mentioned.
So, yes. Now, I know when it comes to a lot of people or in our community constantly complain about support, help,
Hmm.
and I don't know. Like for example, I would need help, but I didn't have it to where I'm people on payroll. We're trying to really
Right.
solidify something. We got to get the ball rolling. And long story short, a lot of people aren't necessarily there. They want their money instantly and they want to shine overnight. You know what I'm
Of
saying?
course.
And it's a process. So I'm asking, after saying all that, how did you find what were your like trials when it came to support, or were you blessed enough to get some?
Well, well, I'll say this much is I've been doing media for just about 20 years.
Mm,
In some shape or fashion, I've been involved in media, and the support in terms of building the platform, that is always going to be a challenge. Because when you don't have certain machines around you, like for instance, if I come out with a podcast and I'm not on, say, iHeartRadio or something like that, right?
mhm,
Without that promotion machine behind you, it's hard to garner the support on a, or should I say, a national stage, right? So you
mhm.
start with people in your community. You start with your friends on Facebook or friends on social media, and their friends of friends become your audience, right? So in
I do
terms
agree.
of the process of building a platform, that's always a challenge. That's very hard to do. And then, the transparency of it all, where you have people, what are they listening to you for? Are they listening to
Mm,
induce an argument? Are they listening because they actually enjoy your show? So you have different dynamics of audience in terms of, who's listening or who's, trying to say, viewing your show or platform or not. So it's always a challenge. The challenges,
mm.
exist no matter what your subject matter is. It's just a reality and how media is disseminated.
So when it comes to you made a good point. You start with your family and friends and people in your community, and they're attached to people and so forth. And that's definitely the ideal um, foundation for support. And then it would, go outwards. Then other people would begin to see it. It would expand.
Of course.
But I see a lot of people also complain that it's their family and their friends that are not that supportive, actually. So, what do you say to that?
Well, I mean, I was gonna throw some Jay-Z quotes out there, but I won't. I'll just stick to what to
You could
my
have.
own. I'll put it in my own words, as they say. I won't use Jay-Z's lines, but haters are everywhere. They come in all shapes, shape, form, and fashion. You know what I mean? As
Mhm.
far as family goes, you gotta look at it this way. Like in my family dynamic, and I'll put this out there. You know, I speak from a more of a should I say conscious lane, as they say, or woke lane, as they say. Not
Okay.
everyone in my family is in agreement or think in accordance of that, right? So a lot of
Right.
things I may say could be taken different than what I intended it to be.
Right.
And so you have that aspect of it. So family may not support you. You know what I mean? In a terms, like for instance, if I make a platform that's specifically about, I don't know, I would say black disparities in America in terms of income or whatever, you know, people in my family may look at it that way and say, well, why is he talking about that? All these things we could talk about, hip hop, you know, whatever the case may be, food, whatever, why would you talk about that? So not everybody is going to agree with the subject matter you set out to have for your platform, and that could be family or friends.
That is so true. And also, you just have some people, seriously. I think we make the mistake of believing because we are connected to people by blood, by DNA,
Hmm.
that they, one, have an obligation or owe us something, or two, some people are just indifferent. It don't family or not, they are ornery. Like
That's
They
true.
don't want to do it. They ain't going to. They're argumentative. Anything you come up with is wrong just because, hell, you came up with it and they didn't. You just got some people like that. It goes deep. Their refusal and protest and rebuttal is beyond your understanding or even more than you can give. You don't have that energy to give. You don't have that to do. So it's just like I think we have to understand that people are people, related or not, and some people just it don't have to be just you, it could be everybody. They are anti everything because they're miserable. And we
That's
gotta
true.
accept that too and be cool with that. And don't feel obligated to people. You treat everybody kind. Give everybody show everybody loveness. But don't I mean show everybody love, sorry. But don't give people preferential treatment because they don't do that. Your job is to just show love and be good to everybody you can. And people that ain't receiving it, you good,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. And then our mindset too, because because you have a show that's booming and you have a lot of people who love it, someone will lay claim and say some people might lay claim and say, well, she stole her material from me, and why is she doing this and doing that? Or for instance, you're in your lane operating, doing your thing, and someone else is trying to do theirs, and automatically they see it as a competition thing. Whereas, well, why should I have her show on Thursday when my show is on Thursday? You know what I
Right.
mean? So sometimes it just comes down to ego, and we have to check that.
You do have to have that ego. And sometimes the ego is on the slippery slope to insanity because, dude, it's just not that serious. Really, I
Exactly.
mean, whatever it is that you do, you chose to do it. Or maybe you were strongly led to do it. Either path, either way, please do the best at it and just worry about yourself and leave people alone. What?
Exactly.
People be on that tip. Mm-mm.
Yes, they do.
Yep. But I mean, what you say is just is true. It is so true. But I do think it's important to note that we have to realize that supporting one another is how we get ahead because we are interconnected. And I the best example I always give is because of what I do. So if you want better representation in media, if you feel like the media is too negative or it's too much fear mongering or whatever your issue is, right, with the media, then it would just make sense to support somebody in your community that's trying to go in that direction. Because when you help people out, unless they're just totally horrible people, or I won't say horrible, I will say under evolved, lack
Right.
understanding. That's what I will
Right.
say. Um, when you have those people, right? Oh Lord, my train of thought just slipped me.
It's okay.
What was I saying? What was I saying? It did slip me. What were we talking about?
Well, well, you were stating about, I believe you're talking about the selection of media, and you
Oh
know,
yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah. Thank you
yeah,
so
okay,
much.
no problem.
So when you're in that lane, when you support people and people that are being supported, they remember those people. They will for the I mean, because if you're really supportive, you're gonna stand out. It's not gonna be many of you. That's why they will remember. So you gotta trust. You have to have trust. I mean, because we trust in all type of stupid stuff that let us down. So I don't
That's
think,
true.
if you took an L on this, it was worth it. You need to trust that that person is going to look out for you and that lane will now benefit you in the future. We got to look at that because maybe you might come up with a business. You supported me. I got you on the back end. Now, because I'm in media, I'm going to put your business out there. That's how you got to think. Then that's how you got to move. But we don't move like that. Nor do we don't think about the long haul. We instantly, the ego, oh, we want to be their trust and,
Of
get on this
course.
party and we not going to do shit to change it. We just want to be upset. So we got to
Facts.
stop that. I'm sorry. Let me know. Let me know if I'm doing too much. I like to have a little dialogue.
I
So,
love it. I mean, because this is definitely constructive. Because we're talking about media, right? Media
mhm,
consumption, and a lot of us listen to mainstream media, whatever. whatever form of it you listen to, whether it's ABC, Fox, whatever. I'm not going to go down the ABC channels here or platforms, but we do have variety within Black society in terms of media. We do, like for instance, we get so caught up in this mainstream media thing that if they don't report what's going on, it's like therefore it don't exist, and that's not true.
Hmm.
Like for instance, where you are and your platform and your show, you have a variety of different topics that you're touching, right?
Yeah.
And why not join your platform and listen to the topics that you break down, right? I mean, that's
Right.
coming from somewhere. That's coming from, your lens, your experience. That should be heard just as well as anyone else for that matter.
Right.
So I believe when in Black society we just have to um should I say, look within our own circle sometimes and find
Mhm.
some of the media outlets that exist, because a lot of us would be shocked that the things we think about are being spoken on, and it does exist.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you, how long have you been filming this documentary? Because
For over,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no problem. For over a year now, um, we're in post production right now. We put out two trailers so far, and in terms of what we're looking what should I say, when we're looking to put it out is in April of this year, and we're on track. We're on track. One thing about principal photography when it comes to films,
Mhm.
sometimes you may have to go out and get extra footage, just so you're making sure visually the points are where it needs to be. So from that standpoint, we're in post production, and things are moving along great.
Okay, and I asked that because I wanted to highlight the fact that to press forward in the climate that we're currently in, that had to be challenging, but you still proved to get it done. So that's amazing. That is.
And it's tough. And it's tough. I mean, for instance, I met with Janice Hahn. She is the county supervisor of Manhattan Beach. And
Mhm.
about Manhattan Beach, you have Bruce's Beach there, which was a black owned beach owned by the Bruce family. And well, initially, I wanted to interview her there on the premise, on the property of Manhattan Beach, because for one, the city of Manhattan Beach, shall I say, gave back the land to the Bruce family.
Mm.
And this is a form of reparations taking place before our eyes. This is, what a lot of us are talking about in terms of reparations and generational wealth. This is playing out right here in Los Angeles. And so,
Mhm.
and to get back to your point about how difficult that was, considering our initial climate right now with the pandemic, that was tough. I couldn't interview her in person, so I had to make sure I had my tech and my gear together, so we can have this dialogue and discussion over Zoom and be able to, shall I say, disseminate it in a way to where it fits within the grounds of the documentary series. So yeah, there were definitely some challenges.
Yeah. And I'm thinking too, like this whole thing, like how we're doing this interview, right? Because we're
Mhm.
not in the same state. And
Right.
in as much as technology is it can be a wonderful thing, and it's definitely a means to an end,
For
despite
sure.
the negatives about it. Um, there is nothing like an in-person interview. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
It's nothing like it. I mean, and you could be out in nature if you have the right equipment. You can pick different scenes and stuff to do an amazing interview. You cannot replace that human back and forth, that connection that is made, and the environmental resources that we have to us. It's nothing like it. You know.
Exactly. And that's where, try to say, these tools that we have at our disposal through social media, through live streaming, we have, and this is how we are going to have to build a sense of community, despite a pandemic, despite being in different states or whatever the case, we can still carry on and have these family discussions or group discussions, whatever, what have you, without, should I say, a lot of the what do you call it? A lot of the things that will make us come up short to a degree. Like
Mhm.
from I'm here in LA and you're in the state that you're in. I mean, that still shouldn't stop us from having these type of interviews when we have such great technology.
Yeah. So thank God for the technology. Um,
Most definitely.
even though, like I said, but anything too, I do want to be fair and say everything has its positive and negatives. It just depends on, it really depends on whose hands have control of it. Who has
Agreed.
the ultimate control of it, because anything in the wrong hands can be detrimental to everyone. And that's just facts. But
Facts.
so again, thank goodness for technology. So when it comes to, you've got your documentary, and then I know it's going to be amazing. You
Appreciate it.
still, oh, you're welcome. I'm just telling the truth. I love the trailer, and the social media aspect of it, because I don't know where you could get censored. I don't know why they would censor you per se, but they're coming up with more and more reasons. A lot of people believe it, being a black creator alone cause for them to be on you. I don't know if it's as much as that, as we probably talk about more topics, because we are a people of more of a suspicious nature, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
for sure. Right.
Even a little paranoia is okay. You just
Hmm.
can't, some people, nah, dog. Some people take it, whoo, they gone with it. But
Of course. Right.
just a little bit of paranoia isn't bad. But I say that to say, because of that, because we have those characteristics, um, we tend to talk about things that they don't necessarily want to address, one, or two, want other people to start thinking about, so they have to provide answers or whatever. So they just, let me shut this person down before we get started, because in the bigger scheme of things, your platform and you being seen for 15 seconds is not more important than what they want. So but I'm just saying, like, social media is challenging. You have that issue there. Then you have to have somewhat of a presence, and that takes time. I mean, it's because now not only are we dealing with building platforms, we're dealing with people with very short attention spans. So,
Yes.
it's a lot of things. It's a lot of, not just like, I can go on and on. I mean, use your imagination and, common sense. You know where I'm going. It's a lot of
For sure.
roadblocks. You have to be determined and steadfast. How do you combat that? I mean, you have a team to help you with that?
Yes, I have a team, and if I can I shout out a few people?
Oh, please, go for it.
I'm for one, I like to shout out to my wife. My wife is, she's golden. She helps me out so much. Without her, a lot of this wouldn't be possible. For one, uh, here I am. I have my camera skills, or should I say, cinematography skills. So I'm,
Mhm,
I'm operating the camera. I'm operating the microphone. So I'm taking care of both visually and visual and audio. So having my wife with me, she are able to ask the questions. So I write. We sit up late at night and we write these questions down that we want in terms of the information we need for the documentary series. She helps me out with that. She interviews, does most of the interviews we do. Also, I like to shout out Sherman Perryman, who is the executive producer for Black Business LA. It was that brother's initial investment that made
mhm,
this possible, because a lot of the gear that we used to film Black Business LA, I was renting a lot of this equipment, and my brother stepped forward and should I say, gave us a major investment to help secure the cameras and things like that. And I have to give him his respect for that. And also to Harvey, who on the promotion end, and then a lot of the soft things that have to take place in terms of documentation, things like that.
mhm.
She's been a hell of a partner, to have involved in this project. And like I said, I mean, for one, I've been behind the scenes the whole time. It's Black Business LA, and then of course I'm directing it in my company, sure. But I wanted the content to speak for the project and not necessarily, me being everywhere and hey, check out my project. This is my project. No, it's our
Right.
project. And
Exactly.
the people who embody or people who are part of it or in it, it's they deserve more the credit, for what they do than it is me taking on this ultimate task to do the project. So that's why I presented it that way. Um, but as far as me, it's bigger than me, and I say this a lot. I mean, it takes a team to put together a film, and especially a series. It takes a team to do that, and to take for one person to take that responsibility on their shoulders and try to mass produce it, it would be extremely hard to do
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
have the quality and whatnot intact. It's impossible.
Yeah. I also want to point out, and again, another one of those disclaimers. You don't have to agree.
It's okay.
I think a lot of people, a lot of us, want to be very individual of when it comes to doing things. We like to be able to say, "I got it out the mud."
Right. Right.
We love a good struggle to triumph. We love a good comeback story.
True.
And we will put ourselves out there for the martyr or representation of that type of story. However, to be honest, it really is it's really beneficial to you to involve others to make it more about than just you. Because when it's just you and you're being stingy, you become more of a target.
That's true.
Because now people are looking at you, oh, this, this, this such and such. They just trying to stunt. They just trying to shit on somebody. You know what I'm saying? We
Hmm.
go take them down. They think they this. They think they that. But when you involve other people, you show a side of being humble, and it makes it a little bit more hard for people to come for your neck. They still will,
Oh, of course.
but it adds that extra barrier. So I'm not saying that's why you do what you do at all. I'm just really just putting my perspective of why it is wise to not just try to keep things and hoard things to yourself. And to be honest, too, you also have to understand the laws and energy of things. I mean,
True.
when you grip tight to stuff, you trying to let it go. Really? If you got to grip that tight, be prepared to let that go. Be
That's
prepared
true.
for the rubber band to smack, to crack on your ass and pop you in the face.
Facts.
So you gotta have some balance. You gotta be able to be cool with it. Be cool because your just due will come anyway. You're gonna get your just due.
That's true.
But help other people. That's what it's about. That's what this is about. So I
I
just want to
agree. And we have to access. We have to be able to exercise a degree of patience when it comes to collaborative efforts, right? For instance, I have my way of how I see things. I bring someone else in, they have their way too, right? It's that meeting in the middle. It's that uh, compromising to a degree. I'm not saying you have to give up on your whole idea or toss everything that you thought of in the trash to compensate for someone else. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that we have to exercise a degree of patience. So because ultimately, when it comes to especially when it comes to Black people, when it comes to the things that we do, most things are underfunded. Most things we do don't have, should I say, the representation that others may do. So
right.
knowing that coming to the table, we have to be patient with one another, and that's
Yeah.
I think why a lot of collaborative efforts don't get off the ground.
And we have to also be flexible in the way that we perceive things too. It's a beauty in things that are done from the raw and from making something out of nothing. You know what I'm
True.
saying? Using being not afforded the same resources. I mean, because honestly, let's keep it 100. That shit should be no. Let's keep it 1,000. That
Right.
shit should be excellent because they have the resources. And what I'm about to say, like, i.e., the Matrix.
True.
Okay, you have a lot of dissatisfied people with that film. I watched bits and pieces. Of course, two people watching the same film take things different. They interpret things differently, which I actually came to the conclusion because I be watching Don't Look Up and stuff like The Matrix the way it should have been. You look at it like, how are they able to get away with these messages in plain sight? But then I realized everybody don't see everything the same. So some people be like, "This is just entertainment," and it went over them. You know what I'm saying? They were
That's true.
entertained. That's as far as it went. You got some people like, "Woo, they put all of that in that movie, and nobody
Exactly.
came up missing. Nobody passed away.
Exactly.
What in the world?" You know what I'm saying? So I really noticed that. But getting back to the point, because I might have gotten off the beaten trail.
Oh, we're good.
Um, it's a beauty in the way that our people take the little bit of something and make it big. If I might, before I'm gonna get back to you, I promise. I'm not trying to
No
overtake the
worries.
interview. Um, I think Country Wayne is a very good example of what I'm talking about. The comedian Country Wayne. You've got a man here, a young man, that uses his cell phone, and he's got a whole damn series, a couple of them, using his cell phone. He has his kids, because he has a lot of kids. He has them assist him because he kind of adopted the old school mentality. You had a big family because they were going to tend to the farm. Everybody was going to work on the farm. He's
Right.
doing the same thing with his situation. He's got a bunch of kids. I'm gonna have to pay for all these kids. I'm gonna make this decision that I made and make it work for me and all of us. So he had the kids instrumental, right? Then
Right.
his son had a car accident. He turned that into a skit, made money off that skit that exceeded the repairs of the car.
Wow.
Now that right there, that young man deserves his flowers.
Big
And he's
time.
making good money. Okay. So it's a beauty of that. I mean, his storylines, you buy into them, you're drawn in. They don't have extra wigs, makeup. I believe he's in Atlanta, so a lot of the scenery looks good of where he's filming. So he's able to leverage the look of the outdoors, and plus the type of place that he lives in, whatever. He's able to leverage that. So it works. It freaking works. So never we got so I'm just reiterating and reinforcing what you're saying. We got to support one another and be patient with one another, because we got a lot of talent in our community and we know how to make something out of nothing.
I agree. Facts. And we have variety. Like you just mentioned, the brother that has his own platform. That's one thing, right? And then you
Mhm.
have others who, I mean, it could be culinary when it comes to food and things of that nature. It could be through fitness. I mean, we have such variety and so many, what you call it, niche, um, um, should I say niche categories or subject matter. That's what I want to say.
Yeah,
Much
we do.
diversity within our own communities, within our own, uh, what should I say, social construct groups that we have on Facebook groups, or I mean, even with social, even when it comes to Twitter, and when now they have their own, should I say, communication apparatus attached to it, where you can have audio dialogue right there on Twitter.
Right.
Spaces,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken, it's called Spaces.
It's kind of like a clubhouse built into Twitter.
Exactly.
Yeah. 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 I think too, though, we are very versatile. What I think we have to acknowledge, right? There's a lot of complaining. Well, all we see is this. Well, that's all a lot of people are paying attention to. So that's what you're getting. When you stop paying attention to these so called things that you do not like, then other things are forced to be emerged. And I think we're so versatile. We're able to do so many things, and we're stuck um, in this lane in a lot of regards, of negativity, of the more ratchet, highlights of us is, is put forth more because we have to admit that we feed that monster as well.
We do.
And we have to admit that it's a part of us that like that as well. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what an agenda is. If it doesn't work, they can't get forward with it. So the only way agendas work, we be like, it's an agenda. But you support that shit. You know what I'm saying? So if
Right.
you stop supporting it, you take you you take the gas out of the car. Because what are we doing? Why do we even have an agenda if no one's going to participate? So stop being a participant. It really is that. This is what I'm saying. What's so crazy about us? We complain. We get all nervous and we're ranting and we're raving and we're pulling our fucking hair out, but we don't realize that we are our own problem. Just stop. Just stop playing the game
Absolutely.
and it goes away. It's so simple and we make things so much more difficult than they have to be.
Always, we do. We do. We do. And and a lot, like I said, a lot of this comes down to ego, and they're not being attentive in terms of what's going on. Like we're so quick to be contrarians. We're so quick, what I mean, to go to find a way to go against the grain, as they say. And what is that? And what's the result of that? It's never really anything positive. You know what I mean? So a lot of these things we have to hold in check.
Yeah,
Indeed.
so true. So with that being said, I want to ask you this. This is where we get deeper into the portion of
Nice.
the interview. And your portion was astounding. I think we got so much information. You know what? Did I miss anything? Is there anything before I go for? Is there anything you wanted to address? Because let me
I think
be.
we're. I think we're good. I think we're good. Yeah, believe so.
Oh,
I told everybody who I am, and I believe I told everybody what the film dynamic. I'm gonna stress the dynamic of the documentary series is. So I think we're straight.
we
I
are
can go
not
back
straight.
over these
When does
things
it
too.
air? That's what we need to know. When does it air?
We're right now. Our tentative date is April of this month. I mean, I'm sorry, this year. Pardon me.
Okay.
That's what we're looking at. If there's any other changes, you can go to blackbusinessla.com, and we'll have updates there, and you can follow us on every social media platform there is, and we'll have those announcements coming if there's any changes. But right now, we're saying April of this year.
Okay, and that now I believe we've got everything because they need that's very important to know. Um so now it's clear what you do. So you being who you are in this field,
Mhm.
um how do you feel about more spiritual content, more of a spiritual message, you know?
Well, as far as spiritual, because I know that can mean a lot there. And, when we talk
Mhm.
spiritual lens, someone can say, "Well, are we talking spiritual lens in the sense of Christianity or Islam or Buddhism, whatever the case, or it could be just spiritual in the sense of those who who see life as this. How can I put it? As this aura of energy. So I mean, spiritual can mean a lot of things, but where I
Mhm.
stand on the spiritual end, I like to represent everybody. That's
Okay.
the way I look at it, and I come from the mindset and ideas of say a Malcolm X, where we have our problems that persist in society, but yet from a spiritual standpoint, be it religion or personal beliefs or whatever, I believe those two things can be separate for the sake of unity, because if
Mhm.
we're addressing issues or problems, that's what we're addressing, issues and problems. But when
Right.
it comes to our spirituality, whatever differences we have, those things shouldn't overlap, the things that we need to take care of when it comes to issues. So a lot of times, the two get intertwined. And next thing you know, we're not talking about issues at all. We're just talking about, well, my belief is better than yours, or your belief
Right.
is falsified, or this or that. So from a spiritual standpoint, I like to see the unity there, where we have the freedom to believe anything we want to believe in terms of that, or any
Yeah.
practice that we have there. But at the same time, we're unified when it comes to our issues and things that we need to take care of as a group dynamic.
Yeah, I believe that everybody has a right to believe and practice how they do.
Right.
Um, my only thing is from more of a spiritual standpoint that I think exploring those different beliefs
Hmm.
and practices is important. It should be have more representation. And you can add there's ways that's done, even with what I'm trying to do. People telling their stories,
Right.
you know, that in itself is awesome. Hearing a person's
I agree.
story is awesome.
I
It can
agree.
be, so it's so much value we as individuals hold that if we bring it forth collectively, man, it would be awesome. I do think that raising consciousness is important. I think that giving enlightenment is important. Information that will propel us forward is important. I know at this time it's like almost a war on that, on truth. Um, the lines have been blurred and manipulated so much, one might begin to wonder what is the truth. Um, and that's why I think we have to get more comfortable with with getting the truth out there regardless. And there are truths and there are things that are relative. Um, there's no black and white per se. There is a gray area. Let's not mistake that. But some things, you gotta have sense. You gotta be able to
I
navigate
agree.
this world, so that's the truth in itself.
That's a
And
fact.
I really believe that more of that is needed. And because it allows us, all of us have inquisitive nature about ourselves. And it allows us to begin to gain more understanding because nothing is more convicting than the truth.
Yep.
So
Always.
I think that's very important. And is that in areas that and you are focusing on the truth in a way.
Right.
You are highlighting the productivity and the diversity of black business. That's
Right.
important. That's a form of enlightenment. But in the aspects of what I was talking about, how important do you feel, or how is that part of your cause at all? Or it doesn't have to be. It could be somebody else's because you got a big lane here. So I'm just asking.
Um, I mean, for this particular project, no.
Okay.
What will it, from a journalistic standpoint, from a cinematic standpoint, will that be something that would cover? Sure. I believe there are some things there. Like for
Mhm.
instance, I remember forgot the brother's name. Is an actor. He came out with a series on Amazon about voodoo and the
Mm.
historic representation of it and where it actually came from. And now we have, variations of it, or even how it was presented in films as something evil, whatever the case may be. However, he broke it down from, its origins in Benin all the way to, uh, what do you call that? Oh man, Haiti and also the Caribbean as well, where it is just there, and just how the variations are different, but they still represent the source of it. So
Mhm.
when it comes to spirituality, yeah, there's a lot of things that I like to explore. So I know we have a lot of variety within Black society when it comes to it. I mean, we look at Christianity, for instance. We can see the lineage between Christianity and, say, Hebrew Israelites. We
Mhm.
get that. That's a discussion that can be had there in terms of, the difference of, should I say, different types of Christianity in our community. So you have a lot of that. So would I be interested in tackling on some of these discussions that happen? Sure, I think there are some things there, of course.
Okay. You know what? I want to say this. This is my experience. I'm not speaking for nobody. But I appreciate I appreciate everybody's beliefs and how they move. The only thing I will be honest and transparent is what I don't like is for people to try to force things on me. I don't like that. I don't like
I'm with
that.
you.
You want to talk about it or whatever. You want to breeze through it. You want to say, I was thinking or this was my thought or this is how I see things. Cool. We could do that all day. But when you start becoming forceful, that's where my hang up comes in. But outside of that, I want to say one thing that I have noticed from my experience, and this is not everybody's. Christians, they trying to convert you at Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner.
Facts. That happens.
Hebrew Israelites, baby. Ow! They out there on the concrete yelling at your ass. Okay? With the Bible, like they not playing. Okay? They not playing. They out there hollering like Teddy Pendergrass over a message.
They
Okay?
go in. They
They
go
they
in.
don't be playing. So,
And I remember seeing them on Times Square. And I lived in New York for some time, and
Times
I
Square.
mean, and that's my first introduction to them. Because
Mm,
I've heard about them. I didn't pay any mind, but here I am one night coming, getting off should I say, a shift from a restaurant, and we're like, it's like 1 in the morning, and here we are in Times Square, and these guys, yelling and going in, right? And here I
mm.
am standing here watching this transpire, and I'm like, wow. I mean, it's the energy behind it, and some of the things they say are true in terms of
Yeah. Oh yeah.
the social aspect of things. I'm not going to go into their doctrine and what they believe, but
Right.
just the social order of things and how they break that down. I thought there was some interesting points they would make, but you're right. I mean, a lot of this stuff is in our face, no question about
Yeah. I mean, they're in reality. Okay. On a very basic, a broken clock is right twice a day. That's just on the basic
it.
level.
That's
Okay.
true.
A step above that would be there's a truth in every lie. So, um, definitely all religions have truth in them. That's what
Mhm.
I will say. Okay, I had to set the stage for just saying all
I
religions
agree.
hold truth. I think they're all very skewed in their own right, and some of them are outrageous in how dedicated they are. And here's the thing. So I want everybody this is my belief. I want everybody to be at
Mhm.
peace, live a good life. Uh I want everyone to prosper. I want everybody to be comfortable in their skin. That's just I want everybody to be happy. That's my genuine feeling about humans and human beings. Okay.
Understood.
So what I don't understand is I believe that we were created by a higher force. I believe there is a God. But I think I, if we if anybody agrees that God is in everything, God is in the air. He's in the trees. He's in you. He's in everything. He is the Alpha, Omega, beginning and the ending. Matter of fact,
Right.
there is no beginning or ending. He
Right.
is. That's why he says, I am that I am. That's what
Hmm.
that means. I just am.
Right.
You can't quantify that. Okay. So I don't understand why people feel that they have to force things on others because you can't separate from the person you're talking to. You can't separate God from them. God is in them, whether they
Hmm.
want to acknowledge it or not. He's in them. So what are we doing? If you can't even quantify what God is, then why do you feel that you should be a representation of what He is? He is. He doesn't need a cheerleader. Is what I'm saying. He doesn't need confirmation. This is the confirmation.
Right.
So what are you doing? Sit your ass down. That be my thing. Like, okay, we doing a lot. But
Yeah.
and I've taken a step further. It's just like people put so much energy in that. But where's the energy into loving thy neighbor, looking out for people, smiling at
Right.
people, speaking to people, holding open the door for people, leaving your cart that you put your quarter in up at Aldi's to get the basket, not returning the basket and taking your coin, just leaving it for somebody who might not have that quarter to put the basket in. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, Where are these? Why isn't people on fire for this? But they can stand on the corner and yell at you, or try to put you in the headlock at Christmas dinner about what you need to believe. That shit is crazy. That's
Well,
crazy.
for a lot of us, that's all we got. You gotta understand. You know what I mean? Like like
Yeah.
life lessons. Like for instance, like life lessons. Like you have a teenager who's fresh out of high school. No, he needs financial advice. He needs, advice on how the credit system works, on just how the social economics work in his and the community in which he lives in. He needs someone to tell him that. But
Mhm.
for some odd reason, we're feel the urge to say, well, you know what? If you don't go to church every Sunday, God ain't gonna bless you. Or, for
Right.
instance, if you don't pray enough, then good things aren't going to happen to you. Whereas, from a belief standpoint, I can see why someone would have the urge to tell someone that. But once again, we're we're a people in which religion is always everything. I mean, we can go back to slavery with a lot of this stuff because on the plantation, that was our only salvation, that we had, that was opposite of the pain that we had to endure every day. So we're talking about a people who, you know, that was their great escape was religion, their
That's true.
spirituality,
That's
and
true.
and this became, at least in our society, this is became the most dominant thing that we depend on. If we don't
Yes,
have
it
money, we got God at the end of the day.
that's
You know,
true.
we can be the most homeless person and in the most lowest situation there is. But the minute God comes into the picture, I mean, you would think they have millions of dollars of cash in their pocket
Right, right. And
because we
you it's
become so
true.
dependent on it.
You
Right.
you're telling the truth, and this is why we have conversations, because I like to come out of different bags. I like to say some stuff, and then so we can get into it, because it's
I love it.
always
Right.
to think about this. But I want to pose this, and I want to go back to the comment you said about if you don't pray, then you're not going to get blessed. I'm glad you brought that up. But check this out.
Hmm.
It is said, and it's very believable. I think most people agree. If you're always negative and you always think negative, then you draw negativity towards you. Would you agree?
I agree with that.
Okay.
I do
So,
to a large degree. Yeah.
okay. So, in a large degree of the sense, that would suggest that is your thoughts create your reality. You can create your reality, right?
That's true.
Okay.
But
So, if your thoughts are that powerful, then do you not think that when you're thinking, we are antennas? So the thoughts that we have, they're emitted. We've got beings, celestial beings, and different beings that are not proven, everybody's not aware about, that are they're not in a human body. So they're our spirit our knowledge is limited because we're in human form. We can only contain so much knowledge physically, or we will explode. So we have to be dimmed down to be able to keep this vessel intact. Okay, but you
right.
have beings that are not in this vessel, so they have a bigger knowledge, and they are able to connect. All your thoughts are heard anyway. Your sorrows, your pains, your wants, your desires, what you do not want. So it's nice you can pray. I would suggest that you can, because it's a different type of connection when you're addressing something and you have intent. But understand that if you do not have intent and do not address it, it's still being heard, and connections are still being made. So to come up and tell a child that I get it, but stop it. You see what I said? Because we only tell people part of the story. Now, a lot of times we only tell part because we only know part and we've only practiced part. Another time, other times we don't tell people things because we think they can't handle it, or they're too dumb, or we just want to be the one of holding it. I know something you don't know. Okay, there's different components of why we do the things that we do. But I just wanted to put that out there. God, just like God is in you, He hear everything that's going on. Whether you say God, whether you put your hands together and say, God, I come before you. with a humble heart and a heavy one. And today I'm going through this, that, and the third. And I ask that you scatter my enemies and you put them on the side of me, and you anoint me from my head to my toes. And I ask that anybody that puts any negative energy my way, Lord, that you send it back to them and keep me and protect me. I ask that you touch my kids, and I ask that you can go through all of that. I'm talking about you can get deep in and anoint your head, do your crosses, burn your say, however you do it, but he's still gonna hear you regardless. It's the intent is for you so that you can walk straight and know what's going on, so that you can have confidence and you could put your left foot in front of your right foot, your right foot in front of your left foot. But
Hmm.
we just have to be careful of how we approach people, because we can break our spirit, but their spirit. But you are absolutely right. In a lot of cases, um that's what we had. That's when we got a break. That's when we wasn't out there slaving. That's when we weren't out there being beat. That was our safety net, as well as what it became our captivity too. Because here it is, we're in 2022, and many of us are enslaved at the mind. The shackles are no longer needed. That's why when you catch yourself, you picking up this phone constantly, and you steady in this phone, and then you didn't looked at something, and then they didn't advertise to you, or you didn't thought something and then popped it up. You giving your whole energy and consciousness to that machine. Sometimes you got to put that down, because
Right.
you, the individual, is powerful. If it wasn't, these things wouldn't happen. It- it's a system. Somebody know what's going on, and you best to get knowing. You
Exactly.
know,
You're
I
right.
am so sorry. I didn't got.
And so this is good. This is health. It's healthy dialogue. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right. But then you have more peaceful religions.
Right.
You know, you've got, from what I see, I don't know, because I haven't, I will say I haven't went into the communities where these things are practiced and sat with them for a while to really know. But at least as far as maybe only the propaganda machine is showing us, I don't know. It seems that a lot of Asians and Indians and different religions, they have more of a peaceful religion, you know. But again, I'm not in their communities. It seems like they're more quiet and they're more assured. They just, they make their movies. They keep their stuff private, but we be out there like, hey man, like,
Yeah.
here we go. I remember you couldn't get out the Kroger parking lot without being hit upside the head with a watchtower. My God, I'm
Exactly.
just trying to get my oranges in the car. But to be honest, I did appreciate. Now, here's where the appreciation comes in with the Jehovah Witnesses. They're dedicated, so
Hmm.
you go be dedicated to something, child.
And like I say, religion the biggest coping mechanism we have in our society.
Hmm.
I mean, look at the churches every Sunday. And I'm
Mm,
not knocking anybody from going to church, because if that's what people do or that's what you do, that's fine.
yeah.
But we are seeing coping mechanisms take shape when we see this happen. And that's not a bad thing. I guess in life you need some things to help you cope with trauma or pain or depression or whatever the case, any emotion, raw emotion that you feel on a daily. You need some form of some, in some shape or form, you need to be able to cope with that reality. I understand it,
Hmm.
but when it becomes so uh, hyper aggressive to where you feel that you have to dominate someone else with it, that is the issue.
Yeah, that is. I mean, addictions don't just stop in the form of a bottle or a pipe. You know what
That's
I'm
true.
saying? Like, addictions come in all forms. I mean, it can come in your eating habits. Addictions is real. So I do. I'm with you there. Like, whatever it takes to keep you going and keep you in a positive. Keep you from laying hands on people and keep you out of the jail system. I'm with it. I do think though we need to examine that it was said that if you want to hide something from someone, put it in a book. And
Ouch.
I think what bothers me is we negate the fact that you can read the Bible just like your pastor. And then we also negate the fact, now look at this. It's okay. Somebody would say, really, it would be me. The devil is getting busy.
Yep.
Ah, all right. What I was saying was, you can read, you can interpret things. It's a book, and I think we need to understand that when you go to church, just like he has read and done his due diligence, a lot of them have went to school for it. So even what's really, this is a controversial statement, and you don't have to agree. What's really interesting is if they are going to theology school or minister school, whatever they call it, they really know, they have a bigger perspective of what's going on beyond what they're teaching you. But two reasons their tongues are tied from the telling the truth is because the tax breaks they get, they're not afforded to tell everything to you. And also it's not, the ego comes into place with a lot of these sanctuaries. So to keep up what they need, they have to tell you what they tell you, right? And this is how we get into traps because we don't understand that I'm going to pay somebody to give me their interpretation of something that honestly was meant for me to read, because what I read and what is translated to me and what I get out of it is not going to be the same of what you get out of it. But if you're just feeding me your interpretation, I mean, I can get something out of it, but I'm not going to grow like I would if I would do my own due diligence, because the Bible's not literal. It's just like a movie, right? 10 different people could be watching it and they're going to get 10 different things. That
Right.
message, it takes a form of its own depending on who's reading it. So why, that's the only thing that I think that kind of gets me about church. And I know a lot of church folk will argue with that because they've been doing it so long, they got to defend their plight. Nobody wants to be like, I've wasted most of my life believing something. So they going to fight to hold on to it because people don't want to, people look at it as everything as loss. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? When they shouldn't. It's just okay, that what it was. Okay, I know better, do better, and keep it moving. So because of that component, things are difficult. But yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I'm so sorry my mic had failed. I don't know why it did that. That was crazy. It was trying to get in the way. It was trying to play with me.
Things happen. I remember working for a radio station. I've had things happen on air before, so you know, things happen. I
And
understand
thank God for the edit. Thank
for
God for the
sure.
edit. I'm gonna chop all that out because that's unnecessary.
Indeed.
Um,
But I was going to text you on when you said, in terms of religion, like
mhm.
religion is a major market in Black society. I mean, you look at the super churches, you look at the fact that on every corner and most majority of Black communities or Black neighborhoods rather, there's a church there. So clearly, there's a market, for religion in Black society. And I'm not here to just to beat up on the church or anything, but this
Right.
is a reality. You know, Clearly there's a market for it. Just like there's
Mhm.
a liquor store, as they say, in every corner in every Black neighborhood. There's a church there too. So we're
Mhm.
seeing marketing take place every time we step out the door and see
Yeah. Me too. They do. We got a problem. We gonna give you a problem, and we gonna solve your problem. We gonna pacify it. Ain't that something?
it.
Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah. We gonna give you just enough courage to stumble back out that door and go right back to that damn liquor store. I get it. I
Indeed.
see. I'm picking up what's being put down, baby. And no, we are not here to beat up on the church. But again, whatever people want to do, and this is why you shouldn't get mad. Because if you happy doing it, do it, baby. And I am not being trying to disrespect anyone. I mean, it's just, but it's good to have these talks and just put these things out on the table. Ain't nothing
Agree.
wrong with thinking, you know.
Exactly.
And you know what, too? Oh Lord,
Uh
I'm
oh.
gonna have to go here. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. I want all kind of smoke. Um, I really wonder if the story of Adam and Eve has us scared. Because
Mm,
on a subconscious level, and I think that was pumped to us intentionally. My God. Oh boy. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Adam and Eve was in the garden.
right.
And God said, this is how the story go. Not verbatim. I'm putting it in Racquel terms, okay? You want the word for word, open your Bible. You supposed to read it, okay?
Right.
Adam and Eve was in the garden of Eden. God told them you could touch anything except for that fruit. As soon as you touch that fruit, you take of that fruit, eat it. You will surely die. Adam and Eve were, and I got the book just so you know where
There we go.
it's
Right.
called The Other Bible. It's got the missing books and everything.
Nice.
Because to do this type of work, one thing I realized, what I'm trying to do here, this is big business. And you had to be equipped with some knowledge. You know what I'm saying? God will give you what you need to know, but he helps those that help themselves. So to get knowledge, you must seek it, and then revelation and truth will come. Um, so Adam and Eve, at this point, Adam was like a celestial being. He was huge. Okay. He wasn't like us. This was before the fall. And Adam was given charge over all the animals. He's the one who named the animals, and they came in two. They had male and female. Adam was alone because Adam seen these animals that he had dominion over, and he gave names to, and he interacted with, and he seen them with their spouses. He then realized he wanted a spouse too.
Right.
So God created Adam from the four corners of the earth. He got dust and dirt from each corner of the earth. And the reason for that was because when Adam would die, at the point he would perish would not be in the time span that we're only allowed to live. None of the earth could reject him because he had been pulled from each ends of the earth. So wherever he was to die, the earth would have to take him.
Right.
That was the purpose of it. So then God created Lilith the same way. He took her just as he had created Adam. And Adam was privy to this process.
Right.
So Lilith, this is why I say I got a whole article on my website. I'm sorry, Melvin, stay with me, but we gonna
I'm
get
with
there.
you.
I got a whole article, a blog on my website about why we are dealing with the Lilith energy today. Okay, it gets deep. Women are not only are we bombarded by the Jezebel spirit, but we are bombarded by the spirit of Lilith. Now, stay with me. So Lilith is now Adam's wife, and she looks at him. She says, "I don't wife. I'm not trying to do this." I was made just like Adam. Okay. I want just as much rank. I want just as much credit. I want my flowers and just do like him. And if I can't get it, I ain't with it. So you know what Lilith did? She flew off.
Mm,
She didn't want to be, she didn't want to have to be submissive to Adam. I was made like you. How are you better than me? I want to be the head honcho too. So I ain't with it. I'm out. So Adam went to God and he said, my wife has abandoned me. So God sent three angels to go retrieve Lilith. And she wasn't trying to go back there. So what they had said to her, they said, look, come with us and get back here with this here Adam, okay? And play your role. Or 100 demon children of yours will die a day. Lilith said,
wow.
I'm gonna go ahead and take that option because I'd rather take that than deal with being Adam's wife. Okay. So that was that. So
Wow.
now God had, Adam still needed someone. So now he made um Eve from Adam's rib. He put Adam to sleep so Adam would not be privy to the process. So he would not be of objection to her. When he would wake up, all he would see is her beauty, and he would be magnetized to who she is because he wasn't privy to the process. And he would take to her. So he put Adam to sleep. And then he brought forth Eden. And he brought forth Eden that way of by the rib because he realized if he was to create her like he did Lilith, Eve would do the same. But because she came from Adam, she would stay tied to Adam because that's from what she came. So she would play her role.
Right.
And that he made Eve. So now Eve and Adam are in the garden. Now here we go. Don't touch none of this. Y'all, y'all naked. They had their celestial form, but they didn't wear clothes. They weren't covered like we were. They're
Right.
naked. They don't know what's going on. They're happy. They're just in the garden. They have a level of ignorance. The problem with that plant is it would give them more knowledge than they needed or that God wanted them to have. And with knowledge, it like anything, just like you shield your kids from certain stuff. You don't want a 5-year-old on the internet exposed to so many things because that's more information than that child needs to handle at that moment. Because given too much, it will be detrimental to its existence. So this, don't touch that plan. I'm not going to tell you why. You don't need to know why. I'm God. Don't do it. Lucifer came down, and in a way, he wanted Eve. See, they don't tell you this. Not only, oh, he was going to bring Adam pain because he wants Eve too. He was, he stood upright. Even though he was a snake, he stood upright like humans. He was tall and big too. Okay.
Hmm.
He found her attractive. He said, I'm going to blow this whole thing up. I'm going to get God because I don't like how he trying to play me by favoring this, um, like how you would feel about a cockroach.
Right.
Like, how he has us. How dare he be fond of them? I'm gonna get him back, and I want her. So I'm about to hurt Adam. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have her go against God and Adam at the same time. Look here, Eve. Why you not? It was more said, but why not touch that? Well, God said, um, don't touch it. And Adam told me if I do, I forgot what he told her. He whatever he told her was an overstretch to make sure that she wouldn't touch it. He told her she would die or
Right.
whatever too. And so Lucifer knew the loophole. So it had to be a loophole to disprove him so she would listen to him. So he said, "Come over here and touch this fruit." She touched it. Now, did you die? I didn't die. Why would Adam lie to me? Now, how can I listen to somebody who lied to me? That's how that's how Lucifer, I won't call him Satan, because we're not certain that Lucifer is even Satan. But that's a different conversation for another day. So
Exactly.
Lucifer, now he's in her head. I didn't die. So now she's eating it. And now the animals knows what's going on. The angels, everybody is in shame because they can't believe. Oh my God. Didn't he say don't touch it? Now she running around trying to get everybody to take this fruit. Cause now I ain't about to be the only one that messed up. Everybody going down. So she went to Adam. Now this is what I forgot to tell you. When Adam was when he laid eyes upon Adam, he knew two things. He was instantly he instantly was said he would love her and take care of her and all that stuff. He would be the as a husband should to his wife in so many words. But
Hmm.
he knew that his weakness with her would be she would petition him with cheers, I'm sorry, petition him with tears. She would come to him asking him with crying, which would make him weak, or she would get him by flattery and by touch and caress. He knew that. So she come to Adam, she crying and shit with this apple. And she giving him the pitch and he fell
Right.
for it. So now everybody is like, the shoe is about to drop. And God come forth and he asked Adam a question. So he to prove a point. He said, Adam, where are you? Because this way Adam's answer would trap him because Adam wouldn't know, wouldn't give certain answers only if he had eaten that fruit. So depending on how he answered where he was, determined it would instantly prove to him instantly like, oh, he knows I defied him. And he couldn't get out of it in so many words.
Right.
And
Wow.
Adam's answer revealed of that he had took the apple. I don't remember the right answer. So instantly he began to shrink. His celestial parts fell off. And then that's when they had to be cast out, and they weren't right away, but eventually they did, and all the curses came and all that. But my point is, I went through all of that to say maybe because of how things happen with them is why we're afraid of knowledge. But understand this: Adam and Eve, and if that's the only God too, because it listen, the is deep because
Yeah.
see we that's a vengeful God for what we know, but God isn't vengeful. So what God was that created? Okay, but anyway, um, if Eve had a just said, "I ate the fruit, I listened to this food, I did it," he would have forgave him anyway. That's what they didn't realize. See, when we don't admit to stuff, we can't heal and get better. We got to admit to things. We got to. It's for our betterment. It's not necessarily a punishment about hell and all that stuff. It's about you to get better. You got to admit she didn't want to do that, and Adam didn't either. So that's why they got cast out. It it wasn't so the fruit they messed up there, but they had a chance. They didn't take the chance because they pride and their ego got in the way. So it
Right.
was their pride and ego that got them the boot. I hope somebody
Indeed.
got something out of that because but the way the church tells you the story, it make you subconsciously. I don't even think it's a conscious thing. I think subconsciously we don't want to be disobedient. We don't want to challenge God. So we don't want extra information because now we challenging the creator. And I'm not trying to everything we do is fear based, and that's why that story is out there because it keeps your ass in line.
Good point. Great point. Yeah, fear is the ultimate motivation
Mhm.
for a lot of us, unfortunately.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was a lot. That was quite profound and how you broke that down.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I
It's
hope I'm
okay.
not getting on your nerve.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm listening, and yeah, that's a unique take. Very much so.
Yeah. So I have a question then. Fear is a motivator. So I often thought, and we'll see what you think about this, that the president should be single. And the president is not single because, with the family and the optics, it's about an optics thing
Mhm.
to signify or send a signal to us for us to buy into it, to trust. You know what I'm saying? It's a family man. But when you look at what's going on behind the scenes, I feel like if the person is single, there's less fear that can be imposed on it because they ain't coming to you like, well, I'm gonna take your wife and kids out if you don't do this. Cause this
Right.
is what cause I mean, he really just is kissing babies and shaking hands. He's a figurehead and a puppet, you know.
Right.
Um, I think when it comes to leadership in this time, we won't always be here because we are evolving too. And everything has its cycles. So, this cycle will end too. But I think when it comes to change, unfortunately, you almost have to be willing to lay your life on the line for it. And when you have other people attached to you, you become in heart you become compromised.
Right.
You're easy to control, you see. So what do
True.
you think about that as far as the leader?
Well, as far as the president being married, well, I mean, in some ways, I can see your point. Like you said, when it comes to initial threats and how they can leverage that and turn it into fear, I definitely see your point there. However, for men and leadership, you know, to be married, you have to be a leader. For a man, you have to be a leader. You have to lead your family. So
Yeah.
in some ways being a leader of your household and navigating your family to where you seek to take them, or what's agreed upon between the husband and wife to take the family, that's one thing. And that can be applicable, because
Yeah.
raising children, you know and the obstacles that comes along with that initial experience can be, should I say, used to help you deal with certain types of conflict. And one thing about being a president, you're going to have conflict.
Yeah.
Conflict resolution and management is a key factor in politics in general, because clearly you're going to have opposing viewpoints, opposing parties, and things of that nature. So to get back to the point, though, in terms of being married, it can be beneficial, and in terms of dealing with the things that goes along with leadership. I do see your point, though, about being single and not having, should I say, to have to take on that responsibility of having to worry about, well, my family in danger if I move this way or that way. So yeah, I see your
Right.
point.
And your point is right as well. That's what makes this conversation so productive. And I
Indeed.
think that's what makes it the perfect storm and why it is what it is, because your point is so very valid, to the point where it that's why it can continue. I mean, because to be honest, a single person probably would be more selfish, less in tune with compromise, and there's deficits to that as
That's
well.
true.
So it's
That's
like, I mean, you got to take the best route, and the best route so happens to work with the initial scam in the damn first place. Ain't that something?
that's
So,
true.
man, it is what it is. I think that I do want to be clear though. I do want to say, with whatever you're doing, however you're doing it, we have to leave fear alone. And fear is a natural emotion, but you got to get control of it. Because I think the more that you focus on it, the more that you can really build a boogeyman in front of your eyes. You know what I'm saying? You got to kind of
Agreed.
keep the fear down a bit. And I think whatever you're called to do, you're called to do it for a reason, and you shouldn't be fearful. That's what I think. You should be bold if you're gonna do it. And I'm not saying you're not gonna battle with it. I won't say that. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but do it with courage. That's what I believe.
Agreed. I'm with you there. 100%.
So here we've got Black Business LA coming out um in April. That's the tentative date. Um are there any like businesses you'd like to highlight, or give us an oral preview without doing too much? I know you want to leave some
Sure.
element of surprise, but is there anything you could share in that regard?
Yeah, definitely. Let's give some variety. For instance, we have um, Urban Comfort Foods is a business that takes on the issues of um, food deserts and food disparities in Black society here in Los Angeles. That's a good business we're highlighting. The two sisters that are involved, Maxine and um, Janelle Singleton. Those two sisters do, should I say, are should I say of great need in our community, because you go to a lot of Black communities here or neighborhoods here in Los Angeles. You have Popeyes, McDonald's, and all these other spots, and we don't have a lot of healthy options. And
Mhm.
these sisters coming together and creating this company has now given us a should I say healthier options in terms of our food choices. So I would definitely should I say mention them. Um, we have people like Tariq Nasheed, who is an activist who uh, through his platform, he's talked about things such as um, what is it? Generational wealth, reparations, even taking on issues such as white supremacy that we deal with in society. So, and also, I mean, the brother's building a museum. He has several documentaries of his own. So, having him on board was a great benefit in terms of our documentary series. We have other people like Avon Hartwell. He's another guy. He's a brother who's also in the film industry, but yet he owns his own barbershop right in the heart of, I believe it's Santa Monica, I believe, and out here in Los Angeles. Another great brother who's doing, should I say, major things. So many people. I'm trying to be very diverse in the industries here. You know, we went for
Mm.
barbershops, food, um, yeah, so we have a lot of people. Also, activism with Tariq Nasheed. Um, also mentioned Janice Hahn. She's in it, and she's the even though she's not, should I say, uh, Black American. She's a white woman who's in politics, who's taking on the issue of reparations here in uh, Manhattan Beach or Los Angeles. So
Okay.
we have a variety of a lot of people and more as well. More are coming. We have another guy who owns a when this we going back to food again. He's a what they call a restaurant entrepreneur. He has a spot called should I say, restaurant called Daryl's New Orleans Cuisine. And
Mm,
once again, you know, his history dealing with Jim Crow civil rights era, where his family, despite all that, were able to, should I say, teach and help culinary specialists. Yeah, people like him who are attached to the to this documentary series. We have Chef Barbette, even though she's a chef and I already mentioned food. However, she talks about fitness as well. She's talking about a woman that's beyond 70, but yet you look at her, you see her, and based upon fitness and the things that she consumes as far as food, she lives a healthy lifestyle. She's able to do things that most people in her age group or age category aren't able to do
mhm.
physically. So we represent everything from, like I said, from food to politics to activism. I mean, we're covering everything.
That's amazing. That's
Oh, and
amazing.
even a coffee shop as well. We have one sister named Vanessa. She owns a should I say a coffee shop called L.A. Grind and Teas, and she started this company because of should I say discrimination that happened in Philadelphia, where I think it was two or three brothers who went in to have a meeting and they were kicked out of Starbucks, and that whole mess that happened there. And on
Mhm,
the backdrop of that, she started her own coffee company to give an alternative to
mm,
us taking our monies in our community and parking it or spending it there. She has her own coffee brand. You know,
okay.
we have another group of sisters who have that's called 1010 Winery. They have their own winery. They have their own wines and whatnot that they preserve and have there. And we're talking, like I said before, we're presenting alternatives and how we can keep our money in our community.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So what platforms will Black Business LA be airing on?
Well, right now we're looking at Amazon, and that's a sure shot, of course, because they are very open in terms of content.
Okay.
Also, Vimeo as well. So it's definitely an independent effort at this particular point. If anything changes there, if any deals are made in terms of the distribution, we'll let everyone know. But as of right now, I will tell you just straight up, it's an independent effort. We're looking at Amazon and Vimeo as the place and where we're going to stream the entire series. And we're looking at seven different episodes, and they're like we're going to call it like mini movies. because they're documentary episodes that are vastly different from the other.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, you. I also want to put this out there too. Um, SDM Flicks is a black owned like type of. It would be compared to like a
Yes.
Netflix,
Hmm.
and they're taking content as well, and they're
I'll
pretty.
definitely look into it.
Yep. So I just want to put that out there. There some more brothers, black owned business,
I
SDM
like it.
Flicks. Go on ahead and if you're listening, download, get on in there. I think I know they have a trial period too. So get on in there and if you're watching too, the link in my Instagram and TikTok bio, you can click that and I have a link for them that's easily accessible. So check that out.
That's
Well,
right.
I think we have went all around the world and back. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed this interview. I hope you did. I really hope you did.
I
I
love
think
it.
this
It
is
was
amazing.
awesome.
Thank
Very
you.
good
Thank
diversity in topics, and I've enjoyed the whole process. It's great.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope to have you back. Probably like a follow up after the series airs and stuff like that. See where your head at. See where things are going. But I appreciate you so much for coming in here today and talking with me and just sharing your stuff, man. That was awesome. That was really awesome. And I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Thank you
Thank you so much.
again.
Thank you
No
so much. Thank you for
problem.
having me, and would love to come back and chop it up some more. And I have a lot more to say next time as well.
Okay. You did great. You did great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.